y'all, welcome to my channel. It's Lola the Manager, your new favorite project manager, tech junkie, and entrepreneur. This is episode 7 of Life as a Project Manager. In today's video, we're going to talk about meetings that I attend as a project manager. So I'm going to split this video up into 2 segments. You're going to have the signature meetings and then ad hoc meetings. So for signature meetings, I'm going to split that in half also. And the reason I'm splitting it is because I want to show you what it looks like on the marketing PM side as well as the IT PM side. In both industries, we host a kickoff. In this kickoff meeting, this is where all the stakeholders that are involved will be present, right? So the stakeholders are usually the ones that initiated this project, whether it was a department or a client. They initiated this project and they are the ones who are like the approvers, the decision makers. They are the key stakeholders, so they're in attendance. If you're in the marketing world, you're gonna have like a creative team that's involved, meaning the copywriters and the designers. And then you're also gonna have the channel owners, meaning the people who build out these marketing campaigns in an email, in a website, a landing page, whether it's print, those people, those are who we call channel owners. On the ITPM side, you're going to be dealing with the business analyst, also known as your BA, and you're probably going to deal with the developer, an engineer, someone like that. You as a project manager are going to be involved. Maybe your program team, if this was like a significant initiative in the company, they may be involved. And so that's who is coming to this kickoff. And at that kickoff, what typically happens is you're probably presenting a deck. In this deck, you're talking about the significance and purpose of this project, the goal of the project. You're probably going to highlight what the deliverables are, the assets, like what is the tangible thing that we need at the end of this project. Questions will be asked. You'll be providing a timeline of when things will get done and all that type of stuff. So that's what's happening here at the kickoff, regardless of if you're on the IT PM side or the marketing PM side. And here's where it kind of starts to change, but there's still similarities in what's happening. So in the marketing PM side, I've seen us have something called an internal creative review. So this is where the copywriter and the designer and the creative team as a whole come together and they're reviewing what the team developed based off of what we got from the kickoff and the information that we got from the stakeholder, the initiator, the person who we're doing this for. In the IT PM side, this same thing kind of happens, but from what I've seen, it's called the analysis and design phase, right? So at this point, we've already done the kickoff and we know what the client wants. And this is the time where we're gonna analyze everything and design this out. And then in both of those instances, we're designing this so eventually we can get approval from the stakeholder to move forward with building this out. Now, on the marketing PM side, the meeting in which the stakeholder approves this is called an owner review. So this is where the creatives that were working on this are going to present it to the stakeholder, and the stakeholder is going to provide feedback and this, that, and the third, and let them know that, hey, you're on track, or hey, you're off track, and stuff like that. That's what's going on the marketing PM side. The IT PM side, at the end of the analysis and design phase, this is where you're gonna get a sign-off approval from the stakeholder. Once that stakeholder gets the sign-off approval, meaning they see everything that you came up with, they're here for it, let's move forward. And then it's gonna go through a phase in which it's getting built. The build phase, there is no meeting there. Okay, we're not having any meetings. That's where it's off with our developer. They are in their silo, heads down, focused on completing what was necessary. And then from there, we're gonna go into a segment called system testing. So system testing is also known as like quality assurance. So that's when like the developer, they will probably bring in the business analyst and the PM into this session in which they're testing out to make sure things are working as they should. And once they are working as they should, then they go into user testing. So user testing is the equivalent to owner review. So as you can see, there's a few steps in marketing PM versus IT PM, but eventually we're all doing the same thing. We're in that user testing, and this is where now the stakeholder, that owner, comes in and now they're testing it and they're gonna call out anything that's an issue so we can fix it in the testing phase. Same thing on this marketing PM side. We have the owner providing feedback. That's what's going on over here with the user testing. Now, After user testing, we go into another meeting called go, no go meeting. So this is the meeting where we are trying to say, is everything in place for us to actually go live and release this product into the world? Is it ready? You're presenting everything that took place. You're letting them know that, hey, we are ready to go live. And you're asking the stakeholders, hey, can we get the sign off to move forward for the go live? In the marketing PM world, that meeting is called a launch party. At that launch party, you're gonna have everyone come, all the different channel owners, all the creative, and you as a PM, and that's when you're making sure that I's are dotted, T's are crossed before we go live. Then after that, you have your launch and you have your go live. In all those meetings, you as the project manager are facilitating them. When I say facilitate, that means you start with an introduction, you provide an agenda, and then you speak and or you pass it to whoever has to speak. Now, when it comes to the marketing PM kickoffs that I've been to, the stakeholders, since they are the one that are initiating the project, they know what's going on. They have the brief or the deck in which they want to present, and then I pass the mic to them. On the IT PM side, I've noticed that I'm the one that have to gather all this information and create this deck and then present the deck as far as like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's the timeline, here's the steps that's gonna happen, and all of that. After that meeting, the only time that I see I am truly involved in the structure of the meeting in which I'm talking, it's going to be at the go, no go. So at this point, now I have another presentation in which I show everything that we have done, showing how everything has gone through the checks and balances, and now we're ready to go live. Can I get your official stamp of approval? And that's what we do. That's happening on that ITPM side. Now for the launch parties and the go live / the release, it really depends on the company. So on the marketing PM side, from what I've seen, those launches are really just you releasing the link and the deliverables to the stakeholder. It really has nothing to do with you per se. However, on the ITPM side, there's actually like a cutover time. Whatever software, product, or feature that is going to be released, it cannot be released during business hours. So you actually have to set up a time, a meeting, to actually go live, to actually cut off whatever it was in the past and cut on what we're about to start with. That is a release meeting, a go live meeting. The stakeholders are involved. Developers are involved, extra hands are involved, just to make sure if anything breaks, we have all the support necessary to catch it in real time. And so in that meeting, I probably facilitate, well, I've seen it where PMs have facilitated it, but also BAs. I think BAs are more so in charge of that, but it can be a partnership. And what you're facilitating is the understanding and breakdown and walkthrough of how we're going to release this. And voila, we're at the end. So those signature meetings, I call them signature meetings because you're going to see them no matter the project. Like they're going to always happen every time you have a project taking place, which is why I made sure that I broke it down as to what these meetings were and the relationship between the two different industries, so that you can see that it really doesn't matter where you're doing the work. We're all doing the same type of work as a project manager. Now let's talk about ad hoc meetings. So ad hoc is a word that I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what that mean? But it's just a weird way to say additional tasks, unplanned activities. Like that's kind of like how I've learned to interpret it. And if anybody has another way to interpret it, please let me know, because that's how I understand it. These are meetings where they're not necessarily always tied to a project and or they're not standard. It's really based on the team in which you have. So one of those are daily stand-ups or weekly huddles. So in the marketing PM side, I've done the weekly huddles. On the IT PM side, I've done daily stand-ups. I've done bi-daily. Is bi-daily a word? Like every other day, 2 days a week. So we've had those, and in those meetings, I'm not facilitating it. This is where, well, I can facilitate it. Let me take that back. In these meetings are you, the project manager, and the project team. So probably your business analyst and your developer, or your creative team and your channel owners. And maybe your stakeholder, depends. It really depends. And in those daily stand-ups, and weekly huddles. It's really just a check-in. It should not be long. These meetings are probably 15 minutes. I don't think they should be more than 30. But it's really just to get a check-in to make sure everything is copacetic. If there's any barriers, you're listening for those, so then you can go do what's necessary to unblock them, right? So we use the word impediments. We use the word issues, risks, concerns, blockers. All of that means the same thing. Is there a problem? Let me know so I can try to find the answer and fix it. Another thing you might see is working sessions. I know that the creative team likes to work together. I know that the business analyst and developer, they like to work together, kind of hash things out. And sometimes I'm just there as a fly on the wall, multitasking on something else. The benefits in being in these meetings is you know what's going on and you can catch things so you can go get them resolved. Or you might hear something that is wrong, like they're saying something that's off, or they're trying to add something that wasn't necessarily in the scope of work. That's one of the reasons why I attend those working sessions, just to make sure I'm in the loop. Now, you're probably not required to be in there. I know that I'm always marked as optional, and I take the option of attending. Now, you have like quick syncs. So I like quick syncs. One of the things I've noticed is that you can really go back and forth via email and things will get lost in translation. I don't think you should be going back and forth in emails. I feel like if you see that this is a conversation that would be best had if we just get on the phone right quick and do a quick sync, set up a quick sync. Send them a message on Teams. Hey, can we do like a quick sync if you're available? Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Boom. That's it. Because the back and forth on email, I'm very big on paper trail, but at some point we need to get on a call. And for those that do like paper trails like I do, get on a call, find out what's going on, make sure you understand what's going on, and then bring that back to email like, hey, just wanted to recap what we discussed, and now you have your paper trail. But this paper trail going back and forth where y'all both on different pages, it's insane. Another thing that I've seen is escalation meetings. So these escalation meetings are exactly what they sound like. Something got escalated and now they need you to come in and say what's going on, say your piece. And now you're probably getting pulled into these different sessions in which y'all have to kind of come to a resolution. Usually escalation meetings mean this has been brought to your leadership, either by you or by the stakeholder. And now we need the big dogs involved. And so in these meetings, they can feel overwhelming. They can feel intimidating, but they are essential so you can see how your leadership handled these things. I am honored and blessed to have had leadership that have my back through everything. They literally block as much stuff from happening to me as possible so that when something does get escalated, they already knew about it long before it had the chance to even escalate. This is why I constantly talk about having an open lines of communication with your team, making sure everybody's in the loop of what's going on. With that said, we also have program meetings, right? So program meetings or project management team meetings, that's when all the project managers come together, senior managers or senior leaderships, they come together and now we're giving updates on our projects. I love this because this is when I can highlight something that's an issue right now or could be a risk right now that may escalate later, and it never catches my management off guard. Never. They already know. And so in those sessions, I've noticed that they can happen weekly, bi-weekly. It's definitely not going to be once a month. Once a month is not enough time, okay? We need to be talking more frequently than that. So I've seen it weekly and bi-weekly, and this is when you're giving your updates. And I love it because you get to hear other project managers talk about their projects. And then you also get to hear like issues and how they fix it, how they addressed it. They're able to help solve some of your problems. And I just love how we're able to have that support. It's also probably the only time that you see or hear other project managers, because the bulk of your time is spent with your project team, not other project managers. You may not even know other project managers work in the company until you have that project's team meeting. And then you have one-on-ones with your manager. Okay? Every company that I've had, managers do their best to try to have one-on-ones with you once a week or bi-weekly. And in those meetings, what they really want to know is, how's everything going with your projects? And is there any issue that you want me to address? That's really what they want to know. This is not designed for you to waste their time and yours. So you want to come there with a game plan. I typically go into these meetings with an agenda. and my agenda, I'm always gonna have my OneNote open, but the main things I want to hit. Hey, all my projects are doing great, but this one right here, I'm having a big issue with such and such. Or I'm saying, hey, I just got this new project and I'd really like if you can review the timeline. Or I'm like, hey, just wanted, FYI, I will be out these dates, Or this is when you can bring up professional development. This is when you can bring up evaluations, stuff like that, concerns within the company. That's what you want to bring them up at that time. But be mindful, you probably have only 30 minutes for this session. You want to use it wisely. Do you want it to be a working session where they're helping you with something, or do you have like specific questions that you want answered? That's what you need to figure out what you want to do. And I think that's it. I think that's all the meetings that I've had as a project manager working on these different teams and these different contracts. Are there any meetings that I missed? Can y'all drop them in the comments? Because I really want to know what else is out there and if I'm just making this stuff up. I mean, obviously I'm not making it up, but this has been my experience in the marketing and the IT world. So I wonder if this is similar to your experiences. So be sure to drop that in the comments. And as always, thank you for tuning in and watching me. You can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here learning about project management, and I just love that for us. Be sure to drop any questions in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer it. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Lola the Manager. Until next time.